Okay, in this lesson, we want to create anisotropy effects that the metal has. If the specular of the metal is something like this, and we want to simulate this effect on Cinema 4D. In Cinema 4D, we have two ways to doing that. First, in a reflections channel, first, make sure you're in a standard, then create a simple material and double click material default material editor. In a reflectance, you can doing that very well, but we have a simple way to creating these effects on the color texture. Going to the texture, in the effects, going to the Lumas. The Lumas simulate that anisotropy for you with different specular. For simulating that, we need let's make it smaller. We need an object to simulate that. Add a simple fillet to that. Yeah, fillet subdivision, and nice. And we want to rotate it to see that reflection on the surface of the object. What was that? Okay. So for seeing that, we need some lights. Yeah. For seeing that, I need to see that specular. I double click the light. For seeing that, I holding your mouse, interactive render, the highest number. Nice. I want to see that specular. Let's bring it down. Change the direction of the light to see that specular better. Let's try it. We need to see that specular on a object. Okay, I think that's good. Let's try. Double click and go into the Lumas, and as you can see, we have changing the shader, specular number 1, 2, 3, and anisotropy. We activate that, and you can see the anisotropy there. Assign it to the object, and now you can see this anisotropy well here. You can simulate that with a simple activation of the anisotropy. Let's talk about these tabs. For better seeing that, you can come here and change the color of your object a little bit darker, but you have to doing that in a Lumas. You can mix in multiply to multiply that color, but in this case you cannot see the Lumas. For changing the Lumas color, you have to go to the shader and you can activate or deactivate. You have to change the color of the Lumas, the whole object here, to better see that. You can see changing the color does not mean you have to change the color of your shader from here. We have different algorithm for changing. This is internal, or for soften shape, or a nair for darker and more rough shape. Here you can change the roughness of that. If you have, actually you can darken or lighten your object. Illumination, of course, is for more illuminate your, you can see more brightness of anisotropy surface, and we have more contrasty between the specular. Okay, we have the 3 specular. For defining that, you can activate or deactivate As you can see, it's the big one is the specular number 1, and you can change it color if you want. For example, change it to red. This is specular number 1. You can see it. I change the color to better seeing that. You can change the intensity of that, more intense, or you can change the size of that if you want to make it bigger or smaller. The contrast of that, you can change it. It's better to seeing that. Color is about shininess of that. To better seeing that, it's better to deactivate the anisotropy and deactivate all other specular to just see that specular again. As you can see, we have a more glow at the around of that with the color. We have more. No, okay. The fall off is from this to the border. You can change the fall off at any. We have more fall off to the border, and more smoother if you want. These settings is in all specular. Okay, this is a specular number 1. I make it to be white. Go to the specular number 2 and activate the specular number 2. The level 2 of our specular is there. You can change all of the settings again. Specular number 3, it's more darker. If you go to the specular number 1, 2, it's more from bright to the dark. For seeing this anisotropy effects, you have to activate it, and it's mixing specular number 1, 2 with the same setting together to create an anisotropy shape. Here is a projection. You can different type of the anisotropy effects. It's a planar, just a scratch. It's one direction, auto planar. You have something like that, shrink wrap, something like this, radial auto planar. It's a different type of anisotropy effect. It's very simple. You can change the projection scale like this. You can have more this circle. Some metal has this effect like this, and the radial planar and radial planar. Nice. I think this is the main. This is a better way. You can change the shape of the shader as you wish. The roughness in the X and Y, you can change it. For example, a level number. You change the roughness in any direction that you want. You can see more soft. For example, I make it a little number here. You can see we have a very smooth, but if you have rough object, you can see that effect. Specular number 1 to 6 means these effects affect which specular. You can know. Amplitude of your actually it's the bump strength of your anisotropy. Now you can see we have more smoother, so actually bump. A scale of these effects, you can make it a higher number, yeah, or right click to. It has more scale and more bump, more power. Length, it means these circles, it is the full length. If you decrease the number of lengths, you can see we have more separate objects, separate. Yeah, we can see. If you want, you can create something like this. We have no full circle. We have just separated lengths here. You can see, right click. Now we have more uniform scale if you want. Attenuation is all about the sampling. If you have less sample, we have less quality. If you have more sample, we have more better effect. That it's all about the sample. Or if you want to make it more, if you add more sample, we have more smoother effect. Right click, less sample to see that. Nice. You can right click to reset them. Specular number 1, 2, 3 means these effects affect on which specular. You can change these settings and try which effect do you want to see. So it's very easy. With some settings you can create such these effects. So this is a Lumas. For changing that, you changing the overall color. For example, you want to create gold. You can gold, not the green. More yellow. You can create something like that. So you have to change the color here. Okay, this is an Lumas Shader.